Hello traders, welcome to CryptoPi, your hub to transform trading using technical analysis and risk management. Today we will talk about Ethereum dominance, how it has reached to one of its all-time lows, and is it the time for reversal? Let's look directly at the Ethereum dominance chart. What we see here is 3 weeks ago. So I am in Ethereum dominance chart in the weekly time frame more than 3 weeks ago. So it was in April this year, April 2025. Ethereum hit one of the lowest levels since all time. The previous low level was at 7.09%, and what we saw in April was after such a long time, more than 5 years, that we see here that it has reached one of the lowest level of 7.35, or maybe I'm wrong here. Sorry, 6.95. Wow, that's really low. Now, we have talked slightly about Ethereum dominance in one of the past videos, but today I want to compare Ethereum dominance with respect to Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance has been quite popular, got very popular thanks to Benjamin Cohen. His narrative about Ethereum dominance increasing no matter whether Bitcoin goes up or down, because it's quantitative tightening and altcoins including Ethereum would go up in price against Bitcoin only when there is quantitative easing. But what we see here is, let's say from 2022, we see that the rise was quite steep, and this steepness has been reduced. So basically the momentum has reduced. If I would have drawn the same momentum, we would reach almost here already in July last year. But from here, last year in April, since 1 year, the momentum has reduced slightly. And here we see some, let's say, resistance in Bitcoin's momentum. Now, it's quite possible that in coming months, quantitative easing can happen. And Ethereum, on the other hand, is compared to Bitcoin, might benefit for quantitative easing, because again, if we try to see the momentum, of course this was a very steep move, but after it did hit its all-time low, the recovery was very quick, very fast. And I would also like to point out one more thing here. If I compare it with Bitcoin dominance, up until this point, up until the all-time low, which would be marking, let's mark it here, we see that the Ethereum dominance rose incredibly quickly when Bitcoin dominance went very slightly down. This shows that Ethereum as an altcoin is making more progress than any other altcoin, which also would indicate that in some or the other way, there is liquidity flowing in the crypto market, especially towards altcoin. Now, if we have to trade slightly more than just these fundamentals, how can one take the trade? Let's look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So basically, Ethereum Bitcoin chart is Ethereum on the weekly pair in the weekly time frame in the Bitcoin market. I have drawn a few structures already. Let me switch them on. All right, so what do we have here? Okay, let's draw them again. It might be much easier to explain. All right, so this was our all-time low. Now, before this one, our all-time low was at this point, which is still quite far from the all-time. Actually, this was when all-time low was hit on Ethereum dominance and not on Ethereum. Ethereum in Bitcoin pair hit its all-time low in 2019. So we see some form of divergence here, a hidden divergence, that Ethereum dominance has made its all-time low and Ethereum in Bitcoin pair has not reached. To reach all-time low, Ethereum would have to still go further 8 to 10% from its low in April. However, if the quantitative easing comes in place, then it's quite likely that Ethereum might just make a move here and then reverse back up until here, or perhaps it might go until here for this altcoin season. If we apply the order block theory, then we can also see that this one here is the bullish order block. Bullish order block is basically the price action which happened before the price started rising, or in case of bullish order block, the price started rising. And since we are on a weekly time frame, we can assume that it's a very strong support level for Ethereum in the Bitcoin pair. Now, the reason for this is also the order block which is here. So Ethereum did test the order block. Test means it reached to the price level of the order block and then it bounced back. And the reaction was very strong. Usually if the reaction is very strong, it indicates that there might be a small price reversal to fill out the gaps here which are created during this bump. Basically create some liquidity here or the price action here and then continue its journey upwards. But of course, all of this depends upon what happens in the macro world, that is basically the Fed interest rate, or if there is a recession, or if something exceptional happens in the crypto world and the whole market crashes. But let's say if the whole market crashes, for example, S&P crashes, Bitcoin crashes, everything, then there is a very good chance that there will be more money printing and Fed will jump in to support the market and stabilize everything. And once things get stabilized, we might see a quick recovery in Ethereum. My guess would be for this season, this altcoin season, whenever it arrives, perhaps in third quarter or beginning of the fourth quarter, is that Ethereum price in its Bitcoin pair could reach the first target would be this order block, which is the bearish order block over here. So if Ethereum reaches up until this point, and all right, where is my tool? Ethereum reaches up until this point and then reverses back and still finds a support somewhere on this level, then I would forecast that it might reach again up until this level. But if it gets rejected once, then twice, makes a lower low like this, then chances of it going back down are much higher. Okay, I think good to get rid of this drawings. Good. Now what else do we have for Ethereum? Let's look at its USD pair. Yeah, in the USD pair, Ethereum did not move much. It has been basically in this channel from quite some time. There is not much action going on if we consider Fibonacci, but however, this one is not really applicable at the moment. Let's create a channel here. Here, where at the channels. Alright, never mind. We can work it out with a rectangle. I think this channel is quite a big one. But of course it's a weekly channel, so price takes quite a few months or years to get played out. If Ethereum does get a bounce in its Bitcoin pair, no doubt Ethereum will also cross its all-time high, which is at about 4,800, approximately 4,900. And if we would look at, let's say, the moving averages, just wanted to have moving averages, not the signals, which is here. So I'm right now showing 50 and 100 moving average, and on weekly time frame we see that the fast moving average, which is 50 moving average, is about to cross under the 100 moving average. That is typically a bearish crossover, but since it's 50 week moving average, it's possible that the bearishness was already detected here or already computed here, and then it would go slightly downwards to fill up this fair value gap, fill up the price action in this region, and then go back up. If we look at Ethereum dominance, and instead of weekly, if we go to daily time frame and look at the moving averages, after a really long time we have got a bullish crossover. That is, the fast moving average has crossed above the slow moving average. If we look at the 3-day time frame, we are still in downward trend. So there is still some downward trend to go, but if there is again a pullback and it makes, let's say, a higher low is basically when the value is in comparison to the previous value slightly above, so that's higher low. If it makes a higher low, then, so for example something like this, then there is a good chance that moving averages might converge at one point, not converge rather, but will give us a crossover, and at a later stage we might see some uptrend going in Ethereum. I think that would be all for today's video, and if you like the content, please hit the subscribe button, and I would be happy to get some feedback. Drop some feedback in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.